Be quiet, Raina.
What
Rough day
happened?
today over here. No. Nothing on your end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Front. That's my nerves.
Is there somebody there to manage the
I'm
kids?
finna absolutely do, I'm gonna put you can go ahead and start. I'm gonna put myself on mute so I can handle the situation if that's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm.
Hello and welcome to the Dru Kelly Show, coming to you live from the studios of my house. That's right. We meet each and every Monday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific time. We have a great show lined up for you on tonight. Two kisses in one. Two great guests on tonight, North and South. From the North, we have the creator of the group, Faith Harris and Joseph Vessels. They are a quartet group out of Cleveland, Ohio. Man, they've sang all over the world. They are probably one of the most busiest quartet groups I've ever known. They're someplace every week doing what they do. Faith Harris, also out of Atlanta, Georgia, with contemporary and praise and worship. And now he's moving into another category. And it's a cross between hip hop, contemporary, jazz, praise and worship. There's a whole lot that's going into what he's doing now. It is spectacular, spectacular, spectacular. We got them both here. What we're going to do is we're going to interview them both, just a brief interview, and then we're going to jump into our topic for the evening: life before, during, and after the pandemic. Life during, before, and after the pandemic as it pertains to gospel music. What's it been like? What's it been like? You know how we do it to get it off and popping each and every week? We always start out with a starter question. And the starter question for this evening is the one thing that you are in need of prayer for more than anything else. What's the one thing above all else that you are in desperate need of prayer for? What I want you to do is when I call on you, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and then I want you to answer that question. All right? I'm going to start it out so people will know what we're doing and get comfortable. Those of you out there that want to join in, we put the question out this morning. For those of you that want to join in, just put your answers in the comment section and we'll read them throughout the show on tonight. The one thing that I need prayer for more than anything in the world is the same thing that Jesus asked God when on his last and final day. Jesus prayed for his disciples and he said, Lord, I do not wish for you to take my followers from the world, but what I pray for is protection from evil. My prayer more than anything in the world is that God would protect me from evil. And if you are working with church folk, you are definitely in need of prayer for evil. Glory be to God, that God will protect you from evil. And sometimes the evil ain't even with other folks. Sometimes the evil is within you. Come on, somebody. Yeah. So right. I ask God more than anything else to protect me from evil. Ladies are first. Let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, with the one and only, the songstress, the bass player, the drummer, the writer, the arranger, composer, and all of that. Let's go to Faith Hairston in Cleveland. What's that one thing, Faith? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay, the one thing that I can say, and there's multiple things, But the biggest thing it is so that I can continue to be a vessel for him. I pray that he empty me of myself. Don't allow
Wow.
this head to get so big that I can't see the beauty in saving somebody else. So empty me of
Come on
me.
now.
Empty me of me, and I can get just like pretty much like how he told Matthew, I'll make you the fisherman of men. Yeah, that's what I mean. And I kid you not, we need a lot of prayer, but if a person look at self and just take care of what's within self, how else would the spirit of the Lord be glorified if
Come
you
on
in
now.
self? You got to remove self.
Wow. All you need now, you need that bass cranked up now. A little
And I
bass
hate
after
the
that,
E
y'all.
flat, let me tell you.
Come on, let's keep it in Cleveland. Let me go over to your sidekick, your right hand man,
Yes,
your
he is.
everything. Dwight Yancey out of Cleveland, Ohio. Dwight, the one thing that you need God for via prayer
My
right
name is
now.
Dwight Yancey from Faith Hairston and the Chosen Vessels. The thing that I would be in desperate need of, I would ask the Lord to give me more patience.
Yeah, Lord.
More
Wow.
patience just to be able to deal with ministry in a whole, to be able to have more patience and discernment, to be able to sense the enemy around you, even in our own church folk.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. Yes,
So I think
sir.
that's
Now,
most for me.
now you know when you ask God for patience,
Oh
the
yeah,
only
I
way
already
you
know.
know you got it is when he tests you. He's gonna test you, not for him, but for your sake.
For
He's
me.
gonna test you to let you know where you are in him.
Yeah.
You
If you
better
are
say that.
maturing, or if
You
you're in
should
the
never
same
stop
place.
growing. So that's why I firmly believe you should never stop growing.
Hey, Drew,
Look,
if you don't mind me, just let me piggyback just a little bit because you just opened up a little bit of a story that I had went through. My prayer for 50 plus years, Lord, give me some patience. And so let me tell you how he tested me. Now, you know, all my kids is grown. All these other kids is other people's kids. But he's tested my patience to see
right.
I mean, he's giving me what I asked for. But whoo, Lord.
He definitely tests you when you ask God for something. He tests you. I think of the story of Moses. Moses was tested by God. God said, "I want you to go back to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to set my people free."
Mm-hmm.
And Moses said, "Wait a minute, you want me to got a warrant in Egypt to go back to Egypt? You
Mm-hmm.
are really playing, God." So God tests you. God tests us to let us know where we are. I see people all the time, man. They preaching the house down. They're going to school and get 4 more degrees. They're doing everything under the sun to really get in the presence of God and to show others how to do it also. And in one situation, man, they lose it all.
Yeah.
Now, cuss the Negro out, put their hands around the Negro throat, and did all kind of stuff that they never in a million years thought that they would do. And that just lets you know that it only takes I always say that anything empty will soon become filled with something, right? If you tear down your house right now, it'll be smooth gravel for about a month. But after that, the weeds are gonna grow, the rodents are gonna crawl in it, all kinds of things. And our spirituality is the same way. If it's not filled with God, then something else is gonna fill us. And it only takes that long for the enemy to find a crevice, a crack, a
The weak
portal
spot.
to get in
Weakest.
to do his thing. Let's go to Atlanta. Devon. That one thing,
Hey,
man.
what's going on? What's going on, everyone?
Hey.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of what they're saying. By me being an educator, and I'm a behavior specialist. I work with kids with behavior problems, and yes. So I was asking for patience and stuff. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of a lot of these kids. After the pandemic, they are really struggling mentally. Spiritually, all of that, because I think during that time the enemy tried to come in and just put things in their head. And my main thing is just really to pray over my students, and not only my students but my kids as well. Just being patient with them because they're getting older, and You know, sometimes they feel like, you know, you can't really tell them anything, but you just got to have that patience to, you know, not do anything or whatever. So, but that's the most important thing. I think, you know, patience is it really is it's so important with all the things that we do throughout the day, not only with, you know, the kids, you know, like you said, in church, you know, by me traveling, going to different places, you meet a lot of people, and, you know, a lot of people, they really don't accept you, you know, especially the kind of music that I do.
Right,
And
right,
you have to have patience, and you just really have to spend time with God.
right, right. I love the way you say you have to have patience so you won't do stuff.
That's a
Yes.
test right there.
So I don't end up doing stuff. Let's go to Clarksville. Clarksville, Avery, Big O Entertainment. Been down for a minute, brother-in-law. Been down for a minute. Been down, trying to see your sign behind you. Big O Entertainment, LLC, Straight Talk, No Chaser. That's his show.
I
That's his show
like
on
it.
StreamYard each and every Monday. Each and every Monday night. They're off right now. But they usually record on Monday night. Thank you, brother-in-law, for joining me. Brother-in-law, what's that one thing?
Yes, again, I'm Avery Orange. Yes, I am the CEO and owner of Big O Entertainment here in Clarksville. Also, a member of Followers of Christ United Spiritually Focused Ministry. It's my church home, where we had a similar conversation a couple of weeks ago about this. But mine would be the one thing I'm in need of for prayer is to lead our youth in the direction of God. We need our youth to be in that passage, but mine came twofold. Not only I want him to lead our youth toward him, I need healing of the families. A lot of the families are so torn and torn up of mischief, behaviors, and bad lies that well, we need to come back together as one and act as one. While we're doing that, your youth and your children and your family will follow your steps, the positive steps. So that is my need of prayer.
Wow, thank you, brother. Let's go to Indiana. China, welcome back.
Yeah. Well,
That one thing, Lord help me if you will. What is it?
You said, say it again one more time, because you know I was backstage listening, but
Okay,
you guys
that one thing that you are in need of prayer for more than anything else. What's the one thing that we need prayer for everything? The Bible says man should always pray. We should never cease from praying. So we need prayer for everything. But where you are right now, what's that
I
one
would
thing?
say my one thing would be my grief for the pain that I've went through, for people dying in my friends and family. That would probably be it, besides direction.
Okay. Grief.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let me ask you this. What has it been like? Because you lost quite a few family members from COVID, and that.
And some not just from COVID, it was from other things. You know what I mean? It seemed like they just kept leaving here. So you said, now, what are you asking?
No, that's good. That's good, because we're gonna get to COVID and that a little bit later. So God bless you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. For those of you out there, if you want to add yours in, please, please, please do. Let's jump on. I just want to give you all understanding of who's here tonight and what they offer as far as gospel music is concerned. Let me start with my brother-in-law, who is my co-host on tonight. He is Avery Orange. Avery, talk to me. What has it been like with this gospel thing as of late?
Well, I'm been with my artist that we have that's been in the studio for quite a while. Health, very healthy. A lot of artists is going back in the studio have lost their grip because they lost vision. Because their vision is not in the right place. My singer I have now is a gospel artist. She's in the studio, Michelle. She's in the studio, and we've already put out a couple of CDs right now, a couple of tracks, already performed. But her health, getting her health and having her mind, her vision back toward the Lord. It's not about the pandemic, because the Lord, He's going to shield you from that. You pray on that, you get your shielding from that. We're getting her health back where she can get back in the studio and perform and continue to do the things that we have set out to do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Devon, tell us a little
Yes,
bit
sir.
about
Yes, sir.
tell us a little bit about Devon, what you're doing at this particular time, and how'd you end up here tonight?
Well, of course, you all know my name. My name is Devon Hines. I'm a gospel recording artist. I been singing for a while. Right now, what's going on with me right now? I have 2 new songs that's out, and just trying to promote them. And I have a benefit concert coming up. I do an annual benefit concert every year, and this year we're focusing on the youth. And we have all youth ministering. We have all youth. Have some kids that's going to mine. My daughter and her friends are dancing. It's just a couple of artists, but it's just strictly youth. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there's so many things going on within the school system right now. And these kids need something to just really lift them up, to give them some type of joy. And that's why I wanted to do like a youth explosion.
Wow. Now you've got a couple of projects that you're working on as far as putting music out. Tell us about that.
Well, I teamed up with this investor out of Miami. His name is Mr. Michael. He a really a good guy. He heard my song Miracle, and he was really impressed with it, and he wanted to invest into the project. But doing that, he said God gave him a song, just the name of the song, and he needed somebody to help finish writing the song. And he asked me if I could do it for him. And the name of the song is Jesus is the One. And the song is basically just talking about how we need to focus on Jesus and know that he can fix anything, any situation that you're going through. And, you know, the song was produced by Luke G. He's a big time producer here in Atlanta. And it's a really good song. And the other song that I have is I teamed up with this young guy I work with. He's only 25 years old. And the name of the song is Joel. And we title that song because a lot of times we dwell on our past. We dwell on the negative things that we did. We just need to focus more on God, because we know God can make all things possible. And, you know, it has that young feel to it. Yeah, I think the young kids would definitely love it. Mr. Dru, he heard it. He was like, hold on now, hold on. He was surprised because he's like, that's a different sound from you and stuff. But, you know, I just, you know, you really trying to reach these youths because, like I said, a lot of things they're going through right now. So, you know, and a lot of times you can reach them through music.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always say there's 2 forms, no matter what your ethnicity, your race, creed, gender, arts, entertainment, and sports are universal. You can go to a ball game and sit next to a racist, a xenophobe, and have the time of your life and know nothing about them, because we lose ourselves when we get into those environments and those things, art, music, and sports. Dwight and Faith, I'm gonna come to y'all together so y'all can piggyback off for each other. What's going on with Faith, Hairston, and Chosen Vessel?
Well, we got a lot of things going on, and to God be the glory. Here in October, I'm going to start with October. We're back in England, so we are headed to London. We need your
Oh,
prayers and
wow.
whatnot. And so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. In July, we are supposed to be at the GMWA, which is going to be remembering Tyrone Porter. Somewhat featured there. We have a lot of services that's coming up, but the biggest thing I would say is that we are going to have our next single, which is called Example. It is produced by Walter Barnes, who is the bass player for Babyface, and it is off the chart. I kid you not, it is something off the chart. It's, when I write exactly what the Lord give me, but Now we're in a day and age where I agree with everyone because all I do is a lot of youth, right? I work for the seniors because I do a lot of the senior, but
Right.
then I also have a passion for the youth. So this song is actually meant to actually captivate both of these audiences, and it's still with the direction of the only person that I want to imitate, because the Bible says if you're going to be imitators of man, you know flesh is known by nature to let you down.
Come on now.
So if we are going to be
Yes, sir.
imitators of Christ, I want you to be able to see that Christ is in me that is going to change your life, which is going to get you closer to the only wise God that's able to keep you from falling. So this is actually the direction of the song. So those are some of the biggest things that I could think of. And wait a minute, in
Yeah.
August we are going to be going to the Bahamas. We are actually singing on the cruise ship, and
Thank
we get a
you.
chance to sing on land. I mean, it's like you talking about doors being open. God is good to this group. I mean, I think I have graced the stage with many of the greats, and we're grateful for it. We're grateful for everything that he's doing. Dwight, did I miss anything?
Nothing but the Cleveland programs. We
Uh, yeah, we do some local programs, so we don't never get like where we can't come back home and actually still give them what we have gotten off of the road and whatnot. So those are some of the things that's in the work, and that's within the next 3-4 months. So we got some stuff coming up for sure. Now, can I talk about the
That
charts
is
that we're on?
awesome. Uh,
oh that we're
talk
on the
about
gospel
what?
charts.
Yeah, we have a song that is called "Bless Me in the
Oh,
Storm."
oh yeah, sure.
This young lady that just had the testimony saying that she wanted him to grace her with, I should say, some relief from the grief that she may have been through, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
ask you, young lady, if you don't mind going, and you can get it off of YouTube, any digital channel, Faith Hairston and the Chosen Vessels. The song is called Bless Me in My Storm. I wrote that song when I man said that my grandson wasn't going to be here. He had 4 brain surgeries and open heart surgery all within 10 days. It was
Mhm.
so literally said that he was not going to make it. This baby is 19 years old now, and he's actually not only on the dean's list in college, but he also had even graduated top honors of St. Ignatius, which is a
That's
big
so
high
good.
school here. So what I'm
Mhm.
saying to you, there is nothing,
Mhm.
absolutely nothing too hard for God. There's absolutely nothing. So even though you might be going through, hopefully this song is able to bless you to get you through. And it is called Bless Me in My Storm.
Bless me in my
Awesome,
story.
awesome.
That's
Dwight.
correct, because your storm is different than my storm, right? We all
Amen.
on here because we all got a testimony. We didn't went through something.
All
Mhm.
right,
And
let me move over to Dwight. Dwight, you have been sticking like super, no, not even super glue. What's that other one? Monster glue. You have been sticking with Faith Harrison and
Oh
Chosen
yeah.
Vessel like monster glue. What is it about this group that just you're totally sold out and dedicated to whatever it is that you are being asked to do in that group?
I'm what I guess what you call a utility person. I'm able to pick up on every which kind of harmony, any any words, whatever notes need to be done, financial. Um,
But you could do that with almost any group.
yeah,
What is it about this group
we're
that
we,
it's
the thing that stands out about this group is we're like family. We're really close knit, and you find other groups in Cleveland that always ask like, man, how, y'all are really good. How come y'all stick together? Like, how come y'all come with that sound like that? It shows on the stage presence and everything how close we are. You can see the joy in the song. We actually
right.
getting ministered to at the same time that we sing the song. So people it reflects onto the audience as well.
The one thing that I love about you guys' group is that you don't compete with one another
Right.
when you
That's
sing,
right.
but you support and enhance one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and Faith is very open. I mean, she's gonna pull folks from the audience and there's not very many singers that do that these days. You know, everybody wants the spotlight on them at all times. and to share the stage and the spotlight with others says a lot about your character. You know, character is so important when you're trying to do something in the gospel arena, in any arena, but especially in gospel, because people are going to scandalize your name. They are going to ridicule you. That you could do everything right, and they'll still mess with your reputation. Reputation is what people have access to. Your character comes from God. Come on, somebody.
Yes,
And
you better say
I
that, Drew.
love the fact that your character is
take our craft seriously.
It's up there. And I really like that about you all. Shonda, thank you so much. You are doing things with your store, and we're gonna get back to you. I'm gonna get back to you about that a little bit later. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's move on and let's get into why we're here on tonight. We'll come back to you too, Devon, because there's some stuff I want to talk to you about. But let's get into this thing, because a lot of people went through the pandemic and they said, okay, everything's open, and people don't really realize what is taking place. People don't even realize how they've changed. And so we want to talk a little bit about help people to understand what has happened and some questions they should be asking themselves so that they can now get into position to be able to possess some promises. This pandemic just didn't happen just to happen. God was speaking. And so we're going to talk about it just a little bit. And let's start out with Faith. What was gospel music, and especially quartet, what was it like pre-pandemic and then during the pandemic? Just tell us about those two.
Well, before the pandemic, you had so many people that was coming out. A lot of them was not coming out just to hear the good news. A lot of them was coming out doing things that probably wasn't so pleasing in God's sight. I'm talking about, if you go back to the book of Matthew, when they was turning the church into a house full of nothing but just thieves and liars and whoremongers and liars. It was all kinds of nonsense. But now that you are in, I'm sorry, Dwight, I think that's you.
Yeah.
But now what ends up happening is that now you get the opportunity to see that some of those is weeded out. Now what we're looking at is those who really and truly have a desire to know about the good news of Jesus. Some of them had, a lot of them had to change their life. Grateful that they was able to get another day. So people was out probably for the wrong reasons. Now I think that they probably know that God is not playing, and I think the message is really singing pretty loud, because the packed churches are now nowhere near the packed churches.
Wow. Let's go to Devon. Hey, Devon, you work with kids quite a bit. You had all these projects going on. What was it like prior to the pandemic, and what changes did you notice that are still in effect even until this day as a result of the pandemic?
Well, like I said, I go minister at a lot of youth events, and I noticed that, I know for myself, it seemed like the youth are, coming to God even more now. Because before the pandemic, where they were still doing what they wanted to do. But I know, like a lot of events, I just did an event like a week ago, and it's like the youth, they're getting saved, and they just really putting God first in their lives, and it's different. Like I said, I go to a lot of youth events, and it's like before then, it was like, they was just there, but now they just like, you know what? Because I think they experienced a lot of death in their family from their like their mothers and their uncles and stuff like that, and it's like, you know what? It's really time for us to get serious.
Wow, you're absolutely right. America went through a boom. The housing market is the most phenomenal thing about America, and we went through 28 years of boom in the housing market. And in 2008, when things crashed, that was the precursor to what we experienced with COVID. But when COVID came around, you're absolutely right. I started to see the younger generation, this now generation, for the first time, really wanting and desiring a relationship with God.
Yes,
I saw them for the first time, not just hooked on music for the beat and for the emotional aspect of the music, but I saw young people connecting like never before. And I think it's because this is the first time young people, this generation, had to sacrifice. They get the PlayStation, they get the Nikes, they get the everything that they want, and they didn't know anything about sacrificing. They knew nothing. Their parents just go to the mall and wait at 6 a.m. to buy them shoes when the mall open, and they get money every week to go and shop and do what they want. They had never seen sacrifice. But the pandemic caused them to finally understand what sacrifice, to be locked up in the house for a month. They had to sacrifice not seeing their friends. They had to sacrifice not being able to go to McDonald's and Burger King. They had to sacrifice no movies, no dances, none of that stuff going on. So I think for the first time, young people had to face the reality that in life, you are going to have to sacrifice. Glory. Let's go to Brother-in-law. You all stay busy. There's always artists that are coming through the club. You had a lineup, not knowing that COVID was going to hit. So you had your whole year set up. Tell us about it.
Well, it's in my line of entertainment, which is a good line of entertainment. It's very decent. No vulgarity, anything like that. But it did dampen the business. But we stay prayed up, so we wasn't worried about anything. Everything goes in a circle, like the housing. You just said the housing market. That was in the circle. That was your first. I'm coming. Now we just had COVID. He done spoke it again. I'm coming. So what we do, a lot of my members and the people that come see me, we are a church abiding, church going people. We just stay prayed up, and we have been able to keep our doors open. We've been able to keep the studio moving. Been very blessed that a lot of the people that we deal with were not sick. I didn't get sick. Some of us did, but it was a blessing. It was a blessing.
Thank you,
Shonda. So I hurt like everybody else did, but like that.
Shonda, how were you able to? How did you continue the dance lessons and teaching and that? And if so, how did you? Was it virtual or did you?
The dance lessons were actually in person with the kids
During the pandemic.
Yes, I was at a school.
Oh, okay, okay. So it was just social distancing and mask and.
There was no that was actually most recently, so there was not a lot of social distancing or anything like that. But because it is kind of like in the hood and urban school, the kids were I had the opposite treatment. I'm so glad that you guys had a good experience for whatever you're doing. Because that must be just because that's events. But where I was at, the kids were doozies. And some of them were good because kids can be good. There were some good, but behavior was bad. So for the most part, the behavior was bad. I could tell a lot of it was demonic. And that they didn't have a lot of training at home. But I still enjoyed that part of it, teaching dance to them. My thing was I wanted some of the kids that were obese, I wanted to help them lose weight.
The Drews popped out, but so you saying you was able to have your whole, your classes was not altered at all?
They were recently up here. We have so many good guidelines here. That's the thing about us in our schools. We were disinfecting really, really well. So recently, nobody was like that. The kids weren't really that sick recently, because that's when I was teaching dance lessons, was this past year. And I really enjoyed myself teaching the inner city kids dance lessons. My first 2 classes were excellent. Behaviors mostly on point, a little bit of attitude, but I'm used to attitude. That doesn't really bother me too much. That doesn't really bother me. But when you get to raising your voice and talking crazy and all that kind of stuff, that's what I draw the line at. I'm like, oh no. So that was my last 2 classes. So you know how you is when you're a teacher. It's usually some of the classes are good, but then other classes are not. My first 2 classes were excellent. Last 2 classes, I was dealing with demonic stuff.
I would say that was one of the big things that helped me too, because I had we kept my establishment sanitized. We had this big machine that we could go in and sanitize everything, so that did help. What just different types of dances that you guys were doing?
African dance.
Okay.
I taught them some ballet moves. I taught them some hip hop moves. It was pretty much, I was trying to make sure I did what they were interested in, but I had to move on to new stuff, because if I only wanted to leave it up to them, they was just going to sit up there and be dropping it like it's hot to trap music. So I had to say, you know what? I know that y'all like trap music. I get it, but we have to do other stuff. And sometimes they didn't like it, because they weren't going to be listening to where they would be twerking and stuff. Because I told them that dancing is more than twerking. It's more than twerking. You got to know moves. You got to get in there and practice, just like you know how the dancers do in the videos. And then you have the choreographers, they go out and teach people. I said, if you really want to know, because some of them were like, well, I really want to be a dancer. I said, well, I hope you don't think that if you're going to sit here and do trap music and that's going to teach you to dance in a video, because it's not.
Well, dancing is also a behavior. You have to be well disciplined in that. That's like we're being in the studio, and I'm quite sure Devon and Miss Hairston also can attest to that. And Dwight, going into the industry, you got to have a certain behavior. All right, and I praise you, because I work with a lot of youth as well. But I praise you for being able to have that control and being that vessel. Sometimes it's not easy to be that vessel. So you got to put up with the demonic and try to lead them in the right way. So I praise you on that.
Thanks.
Over to Miss Hairston. What would you say about being that vessel for the youth?
I would literally say that as I'm carrying, even though, because you're going to run across all kinds of spirits, no matter, even if it was the children, if it was the adults. I work in the healthcare field, which means, and I'm an executive there, which means I'm dealing with adults that is over 55 that's probably carrying as much demonic spirit as you saying that you have ran up against them. But didn't the Bible tell you to put on the whole armor of God? Sometimes some of these babies that you're running across, they don't have no direction. And the only direction that they would have been led through would have been you, because you are that vessel.
That's right.
So, and we run across this, I mean, I kid you not. And believe it or not, the way that I believe that the demonic spirits flow is that they find the weakest link. And let me just deal with that one, because in your dance, it's probably one person was like a lead ringer, but everybody liked this voice because they thought this person was carrying so much power. When in actuality, this person was probably hurting worse. That's the one that you probably wanted to focus on, because if you get this one right, all the rest gonna follow.
Yes,
that's right. And I believe Devon can attest to that as well, working with the in child behavior. This is something that we see all the time.
Special needs kids, and as like she said, it's only one out of like 30 kids in the classroom. it's probably two. And those two, like you said, the weakest one, and they just want to get their attention. They're not getting the attention at home.
Right.
Right.
I appreciate you saying it was that much. In my classes, my first 2 classes were pretty much they cooperated, but they did have some behavior challenges. Like you got some kids that have ADHD and all that stuff going around in class and everything. But my last 2 classes, it's kind of like they barely wanted to learn. It was kind of like that bad. Like they barely wanted to learn. You know,
They really wanted to learn, Shonda, but what it is that if they learned, that means somebody else was learning too. Their job really was there to disrupt someone else from picking up something that was good. So believe it or not, if they did not want to learn, I can guarantee you whatever message or whatever dance that you showed them in life, what would happen is when they get in a situation, they're going to refer or relate right back to where you was trying to teach them.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
In that vessel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's that vessel you carry, Shonda. Yeah, we hear you, Drew.
Okay. I'm still
Drew,
flickering over here.
Drew, we kept it going while you was going in and out. And I would say that was very good conversation. So a lot of notes I've been taking, Drew, that we one thing that I don't know was Mrs. Hairston or Dwight. One of them, we were talking about the church show. At one time, right before the pandemic, the churches will be overflowing.
That was men. Yes, that's the truth.
Overflowing. It was not. It was, and then it was a fashion show at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Focus Ministry, where I go, we're a small church, but we're growing. But I've noticed, like Drew was saying, we have more youth that is giving their life to God and coming over into getting on the right vessel.
But you know something, though, if you think about that, Brother Avery, and let's I mean, and even you, all of us actually, think about that. Now, back in the older days before the pandemic, think about it. You had a lot of probably like the older people, right? Church was overflowed with folks. But a lot of them have passed on through the pandemic, etc., right? Scared to come out and, just refuse to even care. But then now you got the youth coming up. And what I believe the Lord is saying is let me give this generation a chance also. Because the Bible says every knee must bow and every tongue must confess. So seeing how that has to be done, the older folks, once they say, of me, now I didn't already, they got you right. Let me give some of these other folks an opportunity to get right. And that's what I'm sort of thinking, that because we are now in a new generation, and it is the youth. It's all about the youth. Because without the youth, we perish. Because we didn't got, I can talk about me. I didn't got a lot older. And as I sit back and look, it's like I got a baby here that is 15 months old, and I can hit one of them old down south songs. That baby will jump up and get to shouting like you would think that wait a minute, I could turn on the radio, listen to that other stuff. She look at me like, you done lost your mind. So what I'm trying to say is that even from then, they pretty much know the difference. So yeah, I'm glad that the churches are being filtered with the youth. That's a plus right there.
Yeah, and again, being that vessel, they said train up a child, right?
And the man, where it should go, because when he grow old, he won't depart from it. We're gonna flake. Most of us actually has slid off. But the funniest thing it is, didn't we have to come back to the fold because we knew that this was the best fold to be in.
That's right. Are you back with us, Pastor Drew?
Now let me ask you, can y'all hear her faith kind of breaking up and
I hear it
freezing? Are y'all getting clear sound?
I'm getting clear sound.
Okay. All right, we're gonna bring this to a close. Because we're flickering and freezing and doing all kind of stuff over here. So I want to thank everybody.
Yeah, he's having an issue. They might have a storm coming through.
Yeah, it's getting ready to storm out in Florida. My son, his nephew, just flew back to Daytona today from here. But Again, he's like he said, he's going to bring it to a close. We're going to try to hold up and see if he's going to bring it back. If not, we'll go ahead and sign off. And what he would do, I will hope to bring some of you guys over to Big O Entertainment.
What kind of
Absolutely.
interview do you do? Like, what is it? It say straight talk, no chaser. So
We straight to the point. And we got a lot of things out there on YouTube now. If you can look up Big O Entertainment, you can see some of the things that we've already have touched and attached. Well, come on out and see us. Dru is back. We'll go ready. We'll end this. Back to you, Pastor.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I think it cleared up. All right. Talk to me, Dwight.
I can hear you.
Okay. Talk to me, Shonda.
I can hear you.
Faith.
Hey.
Okay, Brother Lon, I heard you okay. Hey, real quick, let's run around the table. My question, what did the pandemic cause you to learn about yourself? What did you learn about yourself during this pandemic? Start with you, brother-in-law.
Self-salvation.
Self-salvation.
Break that down. Tell us what you mean.
If you don't have God in yourself and you living by His word and His word in the way He wants you to be, He said, be of Him. Self-salvation.
All right.
Faith. Here, brother-in-law.
What'd you learn about faith?
You talking to me?
During the pandemic, yes.
Okay. Let me just tell you, I agree with him. The main thing that I learned is that when they say I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, that part really just touched me, because while I was here and I'm looking at the world around me, just people leaving left and right, and wait a minute, I work in the field where I see it. I'm approach with COVID every day because I didn't stop working. But even though I was walking through the shadows of the valleys of death, He still kept me. So He learned me absolutely that if my faith and my will was with Him, He covers me. I learned that I was protected even in the midst of the storm, and I'm not even playing, because I caught COVID, and I kid you not, if you give me about 30 seconds, I can say this. I caught COVID, and I was in the hospital. They put me in the hospital for 2 weeks. I worked every day in the hospital. The doctors is like, how is you working with this horrible disease? You got this, you got that. I said, it didn't stop me from calling on the name of God. It actually helped me even put some of these songs in place, right? Turned right around, and they discharged me because the man said I wasn't sick enough, which was crazy. But then it turned right around. My father spent 3 months, and he's 91 now.
Wow.
He spent 3 months in intensive care with COVID. It still did not kill him. So what I'm trying to say is that He is still yet a protector, even in the midst of a storm. COVID didn't. What it did, it got me closer to what they say, closer to Him. That's what it gave me.
Awesome. Let's go to Dwight. Dwight, what'd you learn about Dwight as a result of having to deal with COVID?
That everything is not for me to understand.
Come on, boy. Come on.
You know about that, Dwight?
Come on with it.
With you, it did have me shook, and as strong as I really thought my faith was, and something like that, the unknown hit when it's on your doorstep, you wonder, like, man, where's the power of the church?
Wow.
And you get to wondering and questioning, and then God has to remind you, He's in control. It's not for you to understand.
Wow. Absolutely. God has been speaking for a long time. When I think about the 70s, our brothers came home from Vietnam, and they were had to deal with Agent Orange and so many other things that challenged them physically, emotionally, spiritually, and everything else. That was pretty much the beginning of the exodus from the church with black men when they went off to war and came back home. And I always ask myself the question, when those black brothers came home from Vietnam and did not return to church, where was the church? Fast forward to the 80s, crack cocaine came into the land. Ask myself again, where's the church? HIV/AIDS came through the land. Where's the church? The Enron scandal, where they went through people's 401ks and life savings. Where's the church? When COVID came through, where's the church? Donald Trump told you to drink bleach and put a light in your body. And it's where's the church? God is speaking, is what I've learned. God has been speaking. He didn't just start speaking to us. God's been speaking to us for a long time. And it took me to the scripture where he says, I was looking for somebody. Come on. I was looking for somebody to represent me, and I couldn't find one. And so God is speaking to us, and he said, look, I'm looking for the ones that'll go against the grain, even in the midst of COVID. I'm looking for those that are willing to go to the highways and byways and tell men, women, boys, and girls that the Savior is soon to come. And so I bless the name of the Lord for Faith Hairston, chosen vessel, hitting those highways, hitting those seas, hitting those airlines, hitting whatever they have to do, because God is speaking. He is speaking that time is running out. This thing called life as we know it is almost over. And so it is high time that we get out there and we witness like we've never witnessed before. God don't want the same thing. There's a lot of churches that were not supposed to reopen after the pandemic. There's a lot of churches, even to this day, has the same thing that happened back in the day with Eli and his two sons. When they no longer wanted to follow God, the Bible says that Ichabod was written over the doors of those worship places. And Ichabod means that the Spirit of the Lord no longer dwells here. And I believe that many churches closed and were not supposed to open back up because Ichabod has been written over those churches. When the church is about the pastor, I believe those churches have Ichabod written over those churches. When the church has turned into a movie theater instead of a place of worship, I believe that Ichabod, I don't care how beautiful it is. Right. We go into most churches today, especially the new mega churches that are built. There is nothing on the wall or the windows that tell a story about his death, his burial, or his resurrection. It looks no different
preach
than
today,
any other
Pastor.
performance hall that you go to see a secular concert. And so God has been moved out of the pulpit. The pulpit has been turned into a stage.
And that's correct.
God has moved, they moved the choir out, and now you got a rock star praise team. Quita get pregnant and you're starting over again.
What they say,
Not
bringing the
Mad
street
Quita
into
for
the church.
dating Jerome on the drums, and you're starting over again. And so God is speaking after this pandemic. He was speaking before, he was speaking during, and there's a scripture that talked about go home and close the door. Good God Almighty, I wish I could remember where it's at. But there's a chapter in the Bible where he told the Israelites, go home and shut the door. And I believe that God was speaking to us during the pandemic, go home and sanctify your own house. Once you sanctify your house, then you come back to mine. But the way you're trying to worship me in my house, that's not my house. That house was built by men for men. But I bless the name of the Lord for all of the artists, producers, writers, singers, dancers that are out there, and they do what they do because they love God with their whole heart, mind, body, and soul. If they make $50 million, they feel blessed. And if nobody gives them a penny, they feel blessed to get out there and do the work of the Lord. And so bless you, bless you, bless you. That's all the time we have. Sorry about the interruptions with the weather down here in Florida.
That was Isaiah 26:20, incidentally.
God bless you. Isaiah 26:20.
Yep.
Yes, he told them to go home, shut the door. In other words, go home and shut everything down. Sanctify yourself and then come back.
Yep.
And the many churches tried to come back doing what they did pre-pandemic. And because they did not go home and sanctify themselves, the Spirit of the Lord doesn't dwell there. He said that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. That spirit that they're worshiping is a spirit of emotionalism.
Break it down, Pastor.
You've got
I got time. Go ahead and preach this thing.
You've got to entertain the crowd now. It's not the Spirit having his way and doing his thing. It's you got to entertain. And one thing about entertaining is once you start entertaining, you got to be more entertaining the next time they see you. There is no letting you off the hook once you start entertaining. I want to thank my very special guest from Cleveland, Ohio. She is the founder, writer, composer, all of that for Faith Hairston and the Chosen Vessels. Her sidekick is right there, as per always, doing whatever's necessary. And y'all got to see them, man. Y'all got to see them, the fashions with these folks. They love God, but they love fashion too. But I tell you, I have never seen them, and they were not just the hit. And y'all were in that orange and
in Detroit.
Yes.
Y'all was in that orange, and I looked at the audience, and they were like.
But wait a minute, I'm gonna talk about breaking down the wall. Now let me just say this, and if you don't mind, give me about 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
We do a song that is called "Come By Here." So in the midst of doing this song, the guitar player's brother, before we get to Florida, the guitar player get a phone call, emergency, that his brother had to have immediate open heart surgery, but he got so many other health issues, they don't think he's going to make it, et cetera, et cetera. So in the midst, you already know, we talking about the man called Jesus, and I'm a believer that he can do everything but fail. I really am a believer. Yeah. So what ends up happening is that I'm up here and I'm getting ready to do the prayer, and I know everybody on this panel should have had this to happen to you. I'm up here on the floor and I'm like, oh Lord, you know all about it. You know, you made us. You know where we were, you know, all these things. Then I open my eyes and I look in the back of the church. There was a man sitting there by himself, and I couldn't see nothing beyond this man sitting there. And I says, young man, I don't know who you are, but the Spirit of the Lord has told me you're the one that's going to lead this prayer. I can send a prayer, but the prayer and the deliverance is going to come from you. The man I didn't know the man from Adam, but the man grabbed the mic. You see it on the video. The man grabs the mic, and when he gets done, do you know that's been 2 weeks ago? They had took this man on the operating table, had literally begun to cut him open. The doctor looked and they said they zipped him back up. You know, I stitched him back up. To this day, they're talking about he don't need open heart surgery. You gonna tell me what the power of the Lord won't do? Now they get ready to do emergency open heart surgery. 2 weeks later, he still ain't even as much as had a nitroglycerin tablet. Wow. So I'm telling you. So when this happens, I told my group, I said, I don't care if I was on that song or now. The Spirit of the Lord had led this man to do this prayer. I'm in the spirit. I'm in this for deliverance, for healing, inspiration, motivation. My job is to bring somebody to Christ. When that man said that prayer, that man actually elevated me. Wow. But then if you think about it, then he says, if I be lifted up from the earth, I will draw all men unto you. Let me just say, we had church right there.
All right.
Okay, amen. I had to get that out of me.
I watched the video and I said, my sister girl went to Detroit and be a musician and prophetess in Detroit.
I had plays in that night.
But it was awesome. I watched it and he was blown away.
Yeah.
And you could look on his face and just tell, now how does she know this? How in the world did she know this? God bless you. Let me move over to you. Shonda, thank you so much for joining us as per usual. God bless you. And how do they get in touch with Shonda Cares?
I will put my email on here. I am Shonda Cares on Facebook. Okay, it's this same picture. Let me see.
Okay, it's going to be there on Facebook. So if you're watching this after, it's going to be up there. Let's go to my brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, how do they get in touch with you and learn more about Big O Entertainment and your show? Tell us about it.
Okay, just go on to my Facebook page, Orange Train. That's where you get all of my advertising, and also my YouTube pages that I have out on the Big O Entertainment. You'll see the past podcasts and the upcoming podcasts that we have. Again, I will reach out to you guys when we do this. It's been a blessing to sit here and hear testimonies is what I was hearing. All right. That's all I got out of this testimony. So everybody seems to be getting on the same vessel now. I said that when Pastor Dru went away. We got vessels in here. Now we got to drive those vessels. So it's good meeting everybody and hope to hear from everybody once again.
Amen. Dwight.
Faith here.
Now's the time for you to do your Saranada. Why don't you sing it for us? hit a little bit of your song, Dwight. The song you lead with them. Just a little bit.
Well, come by here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot, really.
He said the same thing I said that one time. I said,
Let me hear you, Dwight.
Oh man, I'm used to my crew with me.
That's all right. We just want a little bit. Just that first line.
Come by here, Lord. Come by here.
Say it, boy.
Come by, Lord.
Right.
I need you to
You better sing, Dwight.
come by
all right.
here.
Thank you, Faith. Uh-oh. We done cranked him up now.
Come by here.
Wow.
That's that one right there, Dwight.
Faith, give me a little bit of yours.
Oh man, which one?
And when I'm down there, I said, come on. They say, come on, Jesus. Oh, come on, Jesus. Because we need you on Dru Kelly Show. We need you to stop by here, Jesus. Don't get me stirred up now. You already know. I'm just getting to figure out. I take stuff out the way. I got
Praise God. All right, everybody. God bless you all. Thank you so much. We'll see you Thursday night where my very special guest is, can't remember. So we'll see you Thursday night. Look in the group. You'll see who's coming on Thursday night. Thank you once again, everybody. God bless you. And we'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless you. It's nice meeting you.